Hope for No Diamonds is a research on pornography. What made you choose this subject?
I believe I have a fascination for sensuality, for sensation, for emotion, and compared to my other work, I wanted for this specific one to have a source of reference that was somehow outside of myself, so it wasn't my biographical source, or it didn't come from something personal, but I wanted to frame it somehow in a context that was also foreign to me in a way, which is why this was the starting point. I do believe it will transition into something different, but we spoke about this as something, like as an umbrella that we work underneath somehow, and then we will develop and see where it takes us.
So, at which point of your research on the subject of the body does this new work stand?
I don't understand.
It's an over question.
So usually, a lot of your work are on the body, and the body instead of the audience. So, at what point of your personal research this work stand?
If I understand your question correctly, this work will be completely about how we can merge physicality or movement with state or presence, let's call it. So we've been working a lot on this. So the source is physical always, even though we might come from different access points. But we try to really bring these two elements together. So I don't know if it's clear what I'm saying, but yeah, that the state is as relevant as the physicality, and we find a way for them to meet.
Did that not happen in your earlier work?
It did.
That was also the question.
It did happen in my
related to things.
It did happen in my earlier work, but I think in a very different way. So I believe for All Dressed Up With Nowhere to Go, for instance, I was much more concerned solely about the state, and somehow this made the movement quite minimal, somehow statuesque, somehow suspended. And I think this still stays in what I'm researching now, but I'm trying to really force myself to be driven by physicality, by movement, by dance, even we can use this term.
Okay. Okay, so the next question is also for you, I think, Merel. So when you start working on a project, how much does the original idea change during its development? And for example, in this work, how much this work will be transformed between now and the official debut in March 2016?
I think we have a lot of, we have a lot of time still to work on it. Of course, it's really the very first beginning. And if we look at the way, we've been now working together on it for 3 days, and it's been already changing a lot, I think, within that very short time frame. So, wow, I think it's about sort of the starting point, or the fascination remains the same, but then it's about finding a new entrance into that every time. So you keep on questioning it as well. And which for me means that in a way the form or the structure or the material of the piece can still go basically anywhere, but there is of course this one thread of this fascination that keeps on deepening and continuing, and that sort of keeps it all together, I think, so that we still know what we're doing and what we're working on. This is how I also how I imagine it. I hope that we don't lose that. But this is the tension. But this is how I think I would go about. But so it can change a lot.
And so this is the first time you're working together. So how is this new collaboration for you, Giorgia, in the term of you're working with a dramaturge? And I don't know if you, Merel, do you want to say something about this new collaboration with Giorgia?
Maybe you start, then I'll sort of join.
For me, it's been a super beautiful realization. Very simply because I feel like I can submit my work somehow, or give a part of my work into someone else, someone I know but I don't know so well, but that somehow I find affinity with on a level that I don't comprehend mentally somehow, or that I cannot really explain. No, it's just about intuition. It's about, I feel we see things and we both ride the same wave somehow. This on a really basic level. It is scary also when I started this work, because it is an act of what's the word, of opening somehow your process. It's something very personal, something you're very involved in, something that always sources from you, and to open the door to another person is almost like going a little bit blindfolded also. It's also giving some responsibility to someone else in a way, or sharing this responsibility as opposed to always having it yourself. So, but I feel really at ease with this idea. So even though at first it's almost like jumping into a void, it's a nice sensation.
I think it's always nice to somehow hear how it is, you know, for the choreographer in a way. I mean, I work with other choreographers as well, but actually I have the same sort of excitement, or also you know, sort of this thrill of what would it be like, or and you enter really into someone's work, and for me it's quite delicate, especially the first sort of moments, you know, because you really establish, I think, a sort of I don't know, dialogue or a tone of voice almost. This is not really correct English, but you know what I mean, like there's this sort of so and then there is, of course, we already established up front that we feel good with it, but still when entering the work there's always this moment of what will it be? What will it be? And I think it's really nice I work with a lot of men. I find it very nice to work with with a woman. It's a different dynamics, and I mean it's been short, so I don't have like a huge analysis already about what that means, but still it's a kind of energy thing that for me is nice, and it will inform me, I think, a lot also on my job. So I'm curious to find out where it takes us.
So in this work you will work with a new group of dancers. So how do you choose these dancers, or the dancers and the artists you work with usually, or specifically for this new piece?
I don't really have a formula, I don't think, on how I do it. I really act on my intuition for people, because I ask a lot of the performers in terms of, I want them to bring their experience, their knowledge, their biography into the work somehow. I really feel that it's about having a dialogue with the people that I invite first. And of course there is a set of skills that I have in mind that I would wish them to also have, but this is somehow a side element. It's really, I also don't have the appropriate words to describe. I don't have a method, let's say. I don't look for this and then I search for it in people. It's just there are many different ways. Some people I know from before, so I have a human relationship with them, and this develops throughout the years and it brings something to me, and I feel like this would be interesting for this type of work. Some people I don't know, and it's really a blind date, and it's about meeting on the job. But then that's really when the intuition comes in, kicks in, and it's like a sensation more than anything.
I do think it's nice to say, like, we took quite some time, I think, to choose the people for this project. It was really lovely to be able to do it together also, because somehow it becomes more defined as to why certain people or why not. I just wanted to mention that in a way that somehow we really had like 2 full days almost with them, and only after that we kind of decided. And this moment that you encounter a group of people, because we invited obviously more people than in the end we could choose, then you also get a better sense, you know. So it's a dialogue from both sides actually. Also for the dancers, maybe to see more what this project is, who we are, if they can feel comfortable in that. And then also from our side, like, who do we think have sort of like the physical skills to be in the work? And then, we are also, of course, looking for personality. And then there's 4 people. So, you know, you need a certain combination to be able to make different combinations on stage. And that was also really a big thing in our minds, like 4, you know, it's quite a, it's a challenging number for choreography. And so that's also part of the thinking process about the team.
I have one more. So, Giorgia and Merel, if you were to explain this work to a child, how would you do it?
To a child?
Or to someone who...
Can we set a minimum age?
There needs to be an age limit. No. I don't know if I would explain it, or maybe...
Or if you want to talk about it in some way, with a word or with an image.
I think actually this image of a child for me is very attractive. And not, I don't know if it works also to explain it to a child, but I mean, I think there's a way in which children interact with the world through their bodies in a very sort of direct way. And I think, of course, during certain ages they also explore their own sexuality in a very sort of curious and open-minded sort of way, not really knowing yet sort of the impact or whatever. And there is this sort of naivety and combined with a very strong physical interest, I think, that somehow for me is really nice actually to consider in relation to the work. And I think if we talk about the state that we said before, for example, this is an interesting sort of state of mind as to go into the material of sensuality, sexuality, even pornography. I mean, you know, it's different ways of relating to your physicality, but the richness of the way children do that, I think it's good to remember. We forget about it a lot, but it's actually really good to remember. And I think, we hope to reach certain layers in the work, but for me this would definitely be one.
For sure. There's something very genuine about that. Even though if you think of the relationship between pornography and children, maybe it's not so... but I think it's interesting to point it out also. That
of course,
we're completely deviating from your question, but...
don't worry.
We just took it. But I do think that as an approach, I would like children to come and see this, for instance. I would like to see what it does also to us. And because, again, there is this genuinity of sensing, of feeling the energy or what they receive, in a less cerebral way somehow, and just based on, again, intuition, sensation, and all these things that we're busy with. So I would just tell them to come and watch, probably.
Instead of explaining it to them, I would be happier listening to them explaining it to us.
Exactly.
I think that within this case, with this topic, is very would be very cool.
Maybe next year.
Maybe we should try.
We could try.